The parents of flood victims are now suing Camp Mystic for gross negligence. On July 4th, 25 little girls and two teenage counselors died in catastrophic flooding at the camp in Texas. Now, this is different than the situation at the University of Idaho and Washington State University, where we have questions of causation, questions of foreseeability. Here, there are legitimate allegations that because of the actions of the counselors and administration of Camp Mystic, they put these kids in a situation where it led to their demise, and they were just sitting ducks when there were floods that could have easily be foreseen because they've happened before. And here's some images, and it's just heartbreaking. I mean, this is, to me, a preventable tragedy, and that's why I think the lawsuits would be really strong here, really powerful. And yeah, this is just these images are tough to see. Jonna, what are your thoughts about this?
This case is really hard to fathom. And your hearts go out to all the parents. And part of what is driving them, other than obviously the tragic loss of their children, is somehow, some way, you guys, this camp remains in operation. Like they're going to be open for the next season, and I don't know if there's been any subsequent remedial measure to make sure that the little camp goers are going to be safe. Like that's just really slapping the parents in the face. But here again, similarly, I think the insurance company is going to already has their checkbook out, in my opinion, and going to start writing checks for this. But that only solves part of the problem. How is this camp going to keep future attendees safe? And even if they could assure, what parent is going to allow their children to go there? It seems like they should really just close their doors.
Well, to your point, though, I'm sorry.
In Idaho, remember they tore down the house, the Koberger house. Right here, they're planning on reopening the camp in 2026.
It's the 100th anniversary, David. Okay, that's why they're opening.
That?
It's the 100th anniversary.
What do you're gonna ignore? You're gonna ignore reality? Hey,
No,
happy anniversary, and just ignore the elephant in the room?
But Jonna mentioned the insurance company, and typically an insurance company under these circumstances would only reinsure, or any insurance company who would come in to insure it would only do that if now new protocols were put into place. And I mean, even structural protocols, right? New buildings, new water safety systems, new alarm systems, new exit systems, a whole, not one, apparently here there was like a one sheet. If there's a flood, this is what you do. There would be a 3-ring binder. There'd have to be training. Any legitimate insurance company would absolutely insist on all of those things. They would do site
unless
visits.
They're self-insured. Maybe they're self-insured.
It's in the realm of possibilities, but there'd have to be a lot of insurance here. This is another absolute tragedy. A lot of this stuff is on video. I would never want to see any of it, but lawyers, we get blamed for a lot of stuff, right? And a lot of it is absolutely deserved. But lawsuits like this, what changes safety standards to make sure that the history doesn't repeat itself in this most negative way.
Yeah. The lawsuit that was filed by the family of 9-year-old Ellen Getton said that even as families were learning to live with an empty bed, that the camp was promoting its reopening, soliciting donations, and preparing to return to business as usual. And the filing here said that it is not only unthinkable, it is offensive to the memories of the deceased and the families and loved ones they left behind. So aside from being a lawyer, and we all agree that any lawsuit has a really strong chance here and it will result in a large settlement, what about from a moralistic, ethical point of view? I mean, is it right or wrong to even reopen? I do think that they should not reopen. I think it is not doing a service to the memory of those lost. What do you guys think?
They should have closed their doors. They should have apologized profusely.
Yeah.
They should turn that campground into some sort of memorial, and they should move on. It's disgusting. Yeah. It's worse than a plane crash, you guys, right? Plane crashes, if everything's, they can happen. This was totally foreseeable, preventable, and they just completely failed these families and these children. And when you think about what the children went through in their last moments, like I can't really even talk about it. because I feel it and I can't.
It's
So
in the,
they
it's in,
should
look, it's in the
not.
lawsuit. And the, if you're reading it, yes, it's devastating. But,
Mhm.
the flip side of the coin is they wouldn't be reopening if there wasn't, it's a supply and demand. So they obviously have some indication that people want to go back to that camp. It's been there 100 years. So there's some history there. I'm sure there's some lineage there. There's some generational things there. Oh, my grandmother went to this camp, and I went to this camp, and my kids went to this camp. Who knows how many people they employ at that camp? And if the camp goes
Oh,
belly up, those people are now unemployed. There's always two sides to a story. Just by raising it and making it a memorial, I don't really know who that helps. I mean, of the lawsuit, an insurance company giving those families money to start foundations in the honor of their children and helping children with disabilities. That's fantastic. Just taking the camp and wiping it off the face of the earth, I'm not exactly sure what that accomplishes.
well, maybe renaming it. When ValueJet crashed in the Everglades, they came back as AirTran. Remember that? And that was their attempt. It didn't survive. But once you get that reputation of doing things the wrong way and cutting corners and being a hazard, I'm surprised anyone wants to return.
I mean, but there was, David, there
Yeah.
was an act of God aspect to this. I mean, I forget what the numbers are, but it rains like 30 days of rain happened in like 14 minutes or hours or something. I mean, look, I was in Boca Raton a month ago for a wedding. The wedding was Saturday night. Sunday at 3 o'clock, it started raining. And by 9 p.m., where we had the wedding, literally it floated away. The couches floated away. It's a Boca Raton resort. It's a gorgeous thing. Within 5 hours, there was about $50 million worth of damage done. They had no idea it was coming. They had no idea it was happening. And as we know, as lawyers, you learn in like first year's law school in courts, there's the whole act of God aspect of things that most insurance companies, by the way, don't cover. That's like an extra rider you have to get, if something happens by an act of God. So it's just not as cut and dry as we're trying to make it seem here on MK True Crime.
Wait, can I ask you guys a question? Do you think this will come up on behalf of the camp? Do these parents sign any sort of waiver when their little children go to this camp that they're going to, I don't know, waive an opportunity to sue if something were to come up? I think that would be a little
They may
untoward, but
have a force majeure clause in there,
Mhm.
but I can't imagine that they're going to be protected by some fine print and some boilerplate contract here. And by the way, to Arthur's point about this is an act of God, but there is a history of flooding there. Apparently in
Mhm.
1932, 1978, 1984, 1987, all major floods, but not since 1987. So perhaps they let their guard down there, the people who operate the camp. But it is tragic.